Greetings, I'm Professor K, and in this short video presentation we're going to take a look at how we go about using banner grabbing to aid in reconnaissance. Banner grabbing is a technique used to gather information about running services on a computer system. Banners refer to the messages on the host that usually provide a greeting or version information. An attacker can use banner data to take advantage by obtaining specific version numbers of services to aid in reconnaissance and exploitation. For this lab walkthrough, I will be using one virtual install of Kali Linux and one virtual install of Metasploitable 2. Both of my machines are configured with NAT networking. Let's take a look at that real quick. So you go up here to Devices, you go to Network Settings, and you should have them both set to NAT network. As always, the next thing you want to do is ensure that you have network connectivity between your host machine and the target. In this case, my Kali machine is showing me an IP address of 10.0.2.8. I next check to see my target, Metasploitable 2, and it is also on the same network. It has an IP address of 10.0.2.11. Let's begin by finding what services are currently running on my Metasploitable 2 target. Now to do this, I'm just going to use a simple nmap command. I've typed in nmap space followed by the IP address of my target. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And in just a moment it comes back showing me all the services that are currently running on my Metasploitable 2 machine. Now while I'm running each one of these commands to grab the banner off of my Metasploitable 2, I will be clearing my terminal. Now the first tool we want to use is Telnet. Kali may or may not have Telnet installed by default, but it's nothing to install it. So just type in app-get space install space Telnet. I've already got it installed, but I'll go ahead and hit enter. That tells me that I already have the latest version. Using Telnet, we can emulate the FTP service running on port 21 just by typing in Telnet space the IP address of our target space giving it the port number of the service that we want to emulate. In this case it's FTP. I'll go ahead and hit enter. And it comes back and it tells me that Metasploitable currently has very secure FTPD version 2.3.4 running on it. You can just type quit at the prompt. It'll bring you back. Type clear. Bring up your up arrow. Bring up that last command, and we can just change that 21 to a 22, and we can find out what version of SSH is currently running on Metasploitable 2. And it comes back and it tells us that SSH is running, and it's using a version of OpenSSH, version 4.7p1. Again, you can type in quit, hit enter, and now we'll type in clear. Again, we're going to use our up arrow, bring it back up our last command, and we're going to get rid of that 22. We're going to type in 80 so that we can see what is running on port 80 as far as HTTP is concerned. So I've typed in Telnet, the IP address of our target, space, the port number, which is port 80 for HTTP. Go ahead and hit enter. Now for this to work, I have to hit enter or I have to type in something. I'm just going to type in help, and it comes back and it displays the entire banner for Metasploitable 2. This banner also gives us the login information for the administrator, and we also get the email address for the administrator. And we see that we're given a bunch of default directories that are currently present on our Metasploitable 2 machine. Now the next tool that we can use to grab a banner off of a target is Netcat. So in this case, I've typed in Netcat space the IP address of my target, and again I want to look at what's running on port 21, which is FTP. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And it comes back and it tells me again that very secure FTPD version 2.3.4 is currently present on Metasploitable 2. Again, I'm just going to type in quit, and I'll type in clear. Again, just as we did with Telnet, I can use the same command and just change the port number so that I can view what's going on with SSH on my target. So again, I've used my up arrow, I've brought up my previous command, and I've changed port 21 to port 22. I'm going to hit enter. And again, it tells me that SSH is running using OpenSSH version 4.7p1. Again, I'll type in quit, and again, I'll type in clear. And again, I brought up that last command, and again, we're going to look at port 80 for HTTP. So I've typed in port 80, and now I'm going to type in help, and I'm going to hit enter. And again, I'm given the entire banner for my Metasploitable 2 machine. So let's go ahead and do a clear. And I'm going to back up a little bit, and this time we're going to look at port 80 using Netcat, but this time we're going to use a head command. So what I'm going to do here at the prompt is I'm going to type in head, all caps, space, / space, HTTP, / 1.1. Hit enter. And again, I'll hit enter one more time. And it comes back and it tells me that HTTP is running the Apache server version 2.2.8. Let's go ahead and type in clear. Now again, we're going to be using Netcat, and again, I'm going to be looking at port 80. And this time, I'm going to use a get command. And I want to get the banner using this get command. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter. And so I've typed in get. Now this is all caps. Space, / all caps, HTTP, / 1.1. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And again, I have to hit enter one more time. And though it is a bad request, it does come back and give me the information that I'm seeking on what version of Apache is currently running on Metasploitable 2. Let's go ahead and clear our terminal. Another tool that we can use that comes pre-installed with Kali is called WhatWeb. WhatWeb recognizes websites, which helps us to grab the web application banner by disclosing the server information with its version, the IP address, the web page title, and the running operating system. And so at the prompt, I've just typed in WhatWeb, all lowercase, space, HTTP, / the IP address of my Metasploitable 2. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And in just a moment, WhatWeb comes back with the banner information that it found on our Metasploitable 2 machine. Now another tool that we can use is the curl tool. The curl command includes the functionality for retrieving the banner details from HTTP servers. So at the prompt, I just typed in curl, space, the IP address of my Metasploitable 2 machine. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And again, we have that entire banner that's currently present on Metasploitable 2. Another utility that comes pre-installed with our Kali Linux is called Dimitri. Dimitri is a simple yet streamlined tool that can be used to connect to the network services running on remote ports. Dimitri can be used to perform a quick TCP port scan on the first 150 ports and services that are currently running on the target. And this can be done using the -P option, which I've provided. So at the prompt, I type in Dimitri space -P and the IP address of my target. And in just a moment, Dimitri comes back with some information about some of those 150 ports and the services that are currently present on them. And it tells us that Dimitri scanned 150 ports and 141 ports were in a state of closed. Now by adding the B switch, we can emulate some of these services that are running on our Metasploitable 2 machine, and we can gather some more information about what version of the service that is currently present. So I've typed in Dimitri space -PB, given it a space, the IP address of our target. Go ahead and hit enter. And it comes back and it tries to emulate 3 of the ports, port 21, port 22, and port 23. So banner grabbing is one of the easiest and most common recon techniques that we have at our disposal. There are many tools and scripts that allow us to get this information. We covered the basic Linux Unix utilities like the wget, nc, and telnet. However, there are also specialized InfoSec utilities like Dimitri and ASR. Telnet is by far the easiest to use and almost always readily available. And so that's going to conclude this short video presentation on how we go about using banner grabbing to help aid in our reconnaissance. You got questions, you got concerns, don't hesitate to reach out and contact your instructor, and I'll see you in my next video.